philosophy and the way the club have invested in him. I don't just mean transfer funds, I mean invested in his whole philosophy and his belief, and he's sort of led everything. Do you believe that you will be given the opportunity here? Because other managers before you have complained about that and felt it's held them back ultimately.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you will get that investment that you need?
Look, all I can say is at the moment I feel like the club has sort of bought into my vision, and it's up to me. I think I said last week, it's not about patience, it's about belief that, I need to keep sort of working and sort of taking us forward in a manner where there is belief within the club that they should continue to support my vision for it. And I mean, I was here in 2016, I think. Yes, middle of 16. And I came over with the family, and I took my oldest son to Anfield to watch Liverpool, and it was just at the beginning of that building phase. And to be fair, they hadn't sort of done anything significant up until that point, but there's a real energy in the stadium around Jurgen. And like you said, I think the whole club, the supporters, everyone had bought into him, even though, they hadn't quite got to where they want to yet. It was still sort of, because we're talking 7 years ago. But I felt that in the stadium. And like I said, that's kind of why I've always got drawn to managers like that, because he could see things that others didn't in that time. And I think if you look at it, for the most part, most successful clubs, that's the kind of formula. But part of that responsibility lies on me to make sure that, I'm kind of leading in a way that allows people to believe in me and support me, because it's the only way I'll have success. I'm not going to do it on my own, that's for sure, and I never have wherever I've been. I've had great support, and right now I have all the support I need. I really feel like the club is kind of bought into the vision that I have, and it's up to me to maintain that.
Again, just going back to you at Liverpool, it's very clear that he gave him the chance when he first went in, and those who couldn't quite believe fully, he had to ultimately move on. There was quite a big churn of players. I mean, is that going to come a stage where you, not because the players are trying not to believe?
No, you're
they can't invest, you have to eventually cut them loose. Yeah,
well, it's not about cutting them loose. It's just that, and you've probably put it more eloquently than I have tried to, because people haven't understood that, is that we need change. Change has to happen. You can't sort of want to alter your course, and quite dramatically for this club, because we went down a certain direction. Now we're pivoting to a whole different direction, and expect the same people are going to be on that. It's just not going to happen. So, we've had 2 windows. We've had some development of players for sure, but when I say we've still got a long way to go, that's what I'm talking about. We can't be there yet, because it's impossible to say that you're going to have drastic change and yet expect everybody to be on that journey. And it's not for the want of trying, and it's just that we're going to play a certain way, we're going to train a certain way, we're going to have a certain mindset, and that's not for everyone. And, that the same way that, I guess, whether it's Liverpool or Arsenal, if you look at the beginning of their journeys, by the time they win the competition or have success, the team's almost unrecognisable. Well, that's the reality if you change. If you stay on the same course, of course, or a similar course, but we've done a major pivot here. So that definitely is the case, yeah.
And therefore, finally, for me, it feels like at some point fairly imminently there are going to be some tough decisions.
Yeah, look, I think we've already made some tough decisions. I mean, we let some experienced players leave the club the beginning of the year, some by choice. But again, I feel like, if we're really going to change, that means change, and you have to make decisions. And some of those decisions aren't that tough, because, whether it's a player or a staff member, they realise it themselves and say, look, you know what, it's I've got a better path somewhere else, and you've got a better path here. So they're not that tough, but some of them you have to make just because of change, not necessarily because they don't fit in the picture, but you still have to change. Like, I've got to change this squad. I have to, right? Because I've got to build a squad that I think can play our football. For that to happen, there has to be exits as well. I can't just keep everyone here and keep bringing players. So sometimes you let people go that you think it's a good player, but how am I going to change if I don't do that?
And when you first got appointed, sceptics were saying, you've won in Japan, there's one in Scotland, but the Premier League is different. And now after a couple of difficult results, it's kind of easy thing that people turn to. But having experienced the Premier League now for however many months, is it different? And do your principles remain exactly the same?
So what do you reckon they said when I got to Japan? Yeah. What do you reckon they said when I got to Scotland? Yeah, correct. So, I get that, and I understand that, and it's legitimate until success comes, and then it doesn't become legitimate. And my role in that is to navigate us to where I think we'll be successful. So, it's like I said, it's not new to me. It's not something that I haven't been asked before, and I've navigated it exactly the same way. But that doesn't mean that those questions shouldn't be there, because until you achieve something, then obviously people are going to, try and sort of figure out whether, my ideas will work here. That's understandable until you have success. And of course, those questions will remain. But do I have any doubts? Absolutely none. I have clear clarity in terms of building us a club that will be successful.
Just on that, you said how change has to happen. I suppose some fans are wondering, were you capable of change? We talk about the Premier League, talk about your ideas being resolute and then working, but also a sort of element of adaptation and adaptability could be important. What would you say to that? Do you feel like you are capable of doing those things, or is it about sticking to exactly what you're going to do?
So you don't think I had those questions in Japan? You don't think I had those questions in Scotland?
I'm sure you did.
Yeah. And what did I do?
Well, I guess...
I'll finish it for you. I believe what I believe. I really do. Down to my core. I will stand on the highest ground, die a noble death, believing in what I believe.
And just finally, you said before, during these periods of questioning...
Love it, mate.
You love it. You enjoy the rocky side of it.
Yeah.
Last night didn't seem like you were loving it too much. Not the questioning, but the performance.
No.
Do you still...
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that I love, feeling that pain. What I love about it is because, like I said, that's why we do what we do. We don't what I love about this role is not, when things are running smoothly, it's almost like, well, what the hell am I doing here? It's like you kind of, you want the challenge. That's where we all get tested, and I love that aspect of it. And I've had it in every job I've had. And when I say I love it, it's usually I say I love it when I've come out the other side and won something, not when I'm going through it. But at the same time, what a great challenge, and it was always going to come at some point, and it'll still come. I mean, if you can imagine, I'm talking about success. Imagine the scrutiny and the pressure we'll be under if we're on the cusp of success at this club. Could you imagine the questioning that will come around then about the history of this club and how it falls at the final hurdle? So, you've got to embrace that's always going to be there. Nothing's going to run smoothly, and I do. I love this challenge because I think, this is why I do what I do. So it's up to me. As I said last night, the responsibility lies with me. We can sort of talk about the players and individual performances, but the responsibility lies with me, and that's where I want it to lie.
John?
You mentioned Jurgen Klopp in 2016, all the energy was buzzing around there. You seem to have that at the start of the season, and things going really well. But is there a fear that the fans are talking about set pieces, and a lot of that energy is in danger of sticking out?
Yeah, but I mean, when I characterise the energy at Liverpool, it wasn't always smooth there too. Like they had some tough times as well, and look, it's only natural for supporters to worry to because again, this is their football club. They want they're so desperate for things to go well that when they don't go well, it's only natural. Again, it's a bit like, what I said about the club. It's up to me to try and maintain that belief they have in what we're trying to do, and we can only do that with the way we play and the way we present ourselves and what we do. But from my perspective, it's not about telling, whether it's players or the club, that just be patient. It's about hopefully getting them to believe in what we're trying to create. Our supporters would be desperately disappointed with the last couple of games, because obviously they're London derby, so I get that. But for the most part, I've got to say they've been unbelievable this year in the way they've kind of bought into what we've tried to create. And again, if some of them are wavering in that, well, it's up to me to change that.
You say you believe what you believe. When did you come to the conclusion that you had a belief?
Well, pretty early on, because, well, put it this way, I haven't had anything that has come along my path that has shown me I need to change. So I think, like anything in life, once you feel like something is working for you and something that you believe in can bring success, and it does, you kind of you take that forward. Now, maybe the Premier League's a step too far, mate. Who knows? Maybe. But like I said, I'll still be on that hill, wounded, my dying breath, saying I believe. I do believe, but I do. I really do, mate. And as long as I'm here, that's what you'll see. You'll see this team playing the way I want them to.
Paul, and then finish with Dan, please.
So, what does success next season look like for you to show then that your process of change is still on the right track, that you're making progress? What does success mean for you next season?
Look, and I guess the way you frame the question, success is it's a funny term. Well, success is winning things, right? That's what I see success. So there's success and there's progress. If you ask me what success looks like, well, success looks like trophies. That's all it's looked like to me. So that would be success. If you're talking about progress for me would be that we play the football I want on a more consistent basis and with a lot more conviction, consistently, across the board against the best opposition. And we've done it at times this year, but quite obviously not enough. And development of our players, because again, I still think some of them have got some enormous potential in this group. And when I think about some of them who are kind of in their first year or sort of Premier League first, second year, this period would be great for them, because they've got to fight their way through. They understand what it looks like when things aren't going well, because, whether you're Mickey van der Veen or Vicario or Destiny or even Christian Romero, I think he's been unbelievable the way he's growing through the toughest period we've had. So that's a great sign for me, because down the line when we've got more tough times and probably for more significant things, he's going to be there. So I think it's great for them. So success always means one thing for me. So I kind of separate the two, but we've got to have progress. Progress, that's what it'll look like.
Do you think this team is ready to win trophies in that way?
Well,
is it going to take time for that to...
Well, it's obvious we're not right now, because we haven't. Will we be in 12 months' time? That's the challenge I've got. But I guess what I keep trying to sort of emphasise is, I think when you're a club like this, is that irrespective of where you think you are in a building cycle, you have to try and win something every year. That's part of the responsibility, I think. I can't sit here and say, look, we need to, we're going to finish 4th, 5th, 6th over the next couple of years, and then the 3rd or 4th year we're going to win something. I'm not built that way. I want to win things all the time, and so we start next year trying to have success. But the underlying part of that is growth. Growth is the most important thing.
So you're not so patient yourself. If you got to this point next season, you didn't look like you were towards a win or a frustration, you'd be pretty frustrated.
Not frustrated, and again, depending on whether we've had growth or not, but I'd be disappointed. Yeah. I don't have patience. I don't think. I don't think that's kind of my role either. To, like I said, patience is not the right word. Belief is the word. I want people to believe that we can be successful, and you can only do that if you kind of, try and manifest that in everything you do.
Dan to finish, please. Ange, but 4 defeats in the bounce always feels like a crisis for a club like Tottenham. I mean, notwithstanding everything you just said about process, is there extra pressure on you and the team to get a result at Anfield because of that?
Because of 3 losses.
Just because of
what happens after a 4th loss? What happens after a 4th loss? Your questions will get a bit harder. The criticism will come a bit more. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's part of it, but that can't be the reason. I don't want to win because I don't want to get hard questions from you, Dan, or anyone else, or criticism, scrutiny. That's because that will be there in 12 months' time. Like I said, if things don't work out then, so that's not the reason. I think when you start looking for magic silver bullets to the solution to all your problems, if we win, is that going to make the last 3 defeats? Oh, geez, you know what? I'm not going to get hard questions from Dan. I can go into the press conference. That's just not the way I think. It's not what motivates me. It's not. I want to win on Sunday just the way I want to win. I wanted to win last night because there's a game on and we need to perform to win. It's going to be a tough game. They're obviously still, got a chance for the title. So that's got to be our motivation. But once you go into that mindset of, oh, let's win so we don't feel the pressure, and then you're never going to be successful. Never. You got to confront that with the right sort of mentality, and that mentality is not thinking that if we win, the pressure's going to ease, or somehow things are going to get easier. Things will not get easier. Things will be tough, and that's part of the process of where we're in at the moment. Where I think the relentlessness of that is what's challenging the players. Is that they were kind of looking at maybe there's a release valve at some point, but there isn't, and there won't be.
Okay, thanks guys.